Okay, have we started? Okay, bear with me. I'm one of these newbies. Hi, folks. This is Elgen Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. Now, if you've been tuning in to my videos, my shorts, you're going to hear that introduction. Elgin Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. But since it's my first video and I want to or rather, I'm making these videos because I want you guys to get to know me. That's it. And I really want to tell you the purpose of these shorts, of these long form videos, why I'm online, period. I know everybody says it, but I'm here for you. And I really am, and I'll tell you why. But I have a short story first. When I was 8 years old, that's back in 1968. Yeah, I know I look good for my age, but my body knows how old I am. Just recently turned 64, August 19th, but I digress, and I'll be doing that a lot, digressing, because, well, I'm an old man. But anyway, 1968, I'm a young artist. I've won a slew of awards for different things in elementary school. I've been drawing pictures ever since I was in kindergarten. And according to my mother, they were good pictures. They weren't just scribblings on a wall. I mean, you knew where I was going with these pictures. Excuse me, something's in my eye. Anyway, so I won a slew of awards. Then one day I hear a knock at my door, and there's this educator slash author named Mary Ann Gross. And she came to my house in the hood, white lady, a lot of guts. She must have really wanted some pictures. But she came and she said, "We heard about you. We would love for you to do a cover of our book entitled Mother, These Are My Friends." You guys can look that up on Amazon. It does exist. So they said, I asked her, "What do you want?" She told me, "Well, draw anything. Draw a picture of your family. And we're not going to give you any more art direction. We just want you to use your imagination." So I drew my family in different poses, and they were all flying, except for my mother. She was standing there waving. Okay, as soon as the picture was done, everyone was delighted, but I broke all the enthusiasm up when I held out my little brown 8-year-old hand, put it in the person's face, in Mary's face, and said, $25, please. $25. I had the audacity back in 1968 to tell this woman that she needed to pay for my work. And she started laughing. I looked this up, and $25 back then, the way the economy was worth $225 or something like that today. I looked this up on Google. Anyway, she laughed and she paid me the money. Not only that, but she paid me royalties as the book sold. And I thought in my little 8-year-old mind, this is a good idea to keep going. So every time I drew something for somebody, I got paid to do it. Fast forward it to recent times. I became interested in caricature, and so I started practicing that. And I eventually became a caricature artist. I'll tell you that full story of how that happened and why it's important at another time. But I became a full time caricature artist, and it was very challenging to have the expertise to go out there and do it. But I did it. And I began to think, since it was so hard for me to get instruction on caricature, I said to myself, if I ever acquire the knowledge to do this, I will teach other artists, other starving artists. I hate that term. I will teach other starting artists how to do this exactly. And I wouldn't hold back. And so that became the title of my blog at the time, Elgin Subway Surfer Bowling. Now I'm called Subway Surfer because of what I used to do for pleasure and also for profit and self promotion. What I did, and this was, before the cell phones became what they are today, the smartphones. They weren't very smart back then, those phones. I guess they were in elementary school, to use that metaphor. But again, I digress. So back then, people weren't so involved on their phones. So when people got on the subway, they would zone out, they would look around, they would speak to the person next to them, or they would sleep. They were very animated during that time. And so what I used to do when I would go to my gigs, which were oftentimes 2 or 3 hours out of my way, and I had no car, so I would draw on the trains to pass the time. And it got to be so much that I amassed thousands of drawings of regular people. Of course, I was like, for me, I was like a pitcher in the bullpen, warming up until my stop came, and then I would get off and I would be a smash at the party because I warmed up. And oh, yes, you need to warm up to draw smoothly and efficiently. Okay, so I used to do that, and I became the Subway Surfer. A friend of mine gave me that moniker, and it stuck. Elgen Subway Surfer Bowling. And so I knew I wanted to teach people. So I said, what do I do? There's a kind of marketing, which means selling and promotion. I wanted to teach people how to do that, how to make money doing art, real money, not just chicken change, but I can tell you how to do chicken change too. Anyway, I wanted to teach people that. And I said, well, it is a kind of consultant type of work. I don't charge anybody for it, but that's what it is. And so that's how I came up with the moniker and the spiel. Elgin, Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. That's how that started. And back in the day, in the early 2000s, I got up to 3,000 subscribers, which was pretty impressive that far back. Now, fast forward again, I became very ill in one day. This happened in one day. In one day, I was walking on the boardwalk in Far Rockaway. That's where I lived, and I got cellulitis. My ankles and my legs swolled up to the size of an elephant's leg. I'm not kidding. That's not hyperbole. That's the size. Also, I got tunnel vision. I had no peripheral vision. It just went boop. No peripheral vision. And I found out later, stage four, kidney failure. Just like that, in one freaking day, all of that happened. I was really disappointed about, that's putting it mildly, I was really disappointed about getting that. I was really disappointed about the kidney failure thing because I had been an athlete for years. I was a runner. I did martial arts. There was no way that this was going to happen to me. I figured that if you took care of your body, it would take care of you. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. Only vice was coffee. I did do that, and I eventually quit that. So this thing just snuck up on me, and it took my life away. It took my profession away. Could you imagine an artist who can't see? I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. So, long story short, when all this was happening to me, I got treated. My elephantitis, ankles, knees, and feet went down to normal levels that I still have to monitor now and take care of. Uh, mm, Kidney failure obviously stayed because I'm a dialysis patient. Got to go 3 times a week. And my eyesight, the peripheral vision came back, but the eyesight didn't come back completely. As I'm making this video, I'm looking. It's like looking out through a smoke-filled room. If you ever been driving and the window is kind of cloudy, that's how it is for me to look out at the world. So obviously, I had difficulty drawing, and now for those of you who look at this channel, you can tell your friends, "Hey, I've got a blind man teaching me how to draw," because I am legally blind, but I still draw. And I'll tell you how to do that. It's a very inspirational story, so they tell me. And so that's me. And so I, after contemplating about my life and my condition, having my career taken away, I began to get depressed until recently, when I started working my way back. I came to my YouTube channel, and it was in shambles. Things had changed on the whole social media landscape. Things had exploded, and I was no longer relevant. People were doing shorts now, and as you can tell, I'm long-winded. I couldn't do a freaking short in in 1 minute. I couldn't do it. So, but I knew that I wanted to be in the game again. I still had my desire of trying to teach people how not to be starving artists. I really wanted to do that. And so I began practicing. I said to myself, I know what you lost because I lost the ability to do live caricatures. I could not see a face clearly enough to do it. I could draw people who had lighter complexions, whites, Asians, black people with complexions, a little lighter than mine. I could see that because of the contrast. But if a chocolate brown skinned black person sat in front of me, it was like looking at blackness. You've heard the sounds of blackness. That's how it would be. And how can I explain to people? I can't see. I can't draw you. You're too black. Can't draw you. So I said, what can I do? And I said, well, I can't do my style of drawing as detailed as I can. But what I can do is draw a modified style, something simpler, and people will respond to that because we're living in I don't know if you realize it, but as an artist, you notice these trends. The trend now is to do minimalistic type of cartoons, and you can see that online with the various cartoon shorts that people are doing, with the way products are advertised. They're kind of like, it's like those old style PowerPoint clip art. That's what's trending now, and it's been like that for a couple of years, and so I'm going to take this time after this brief introduction of giving you your first quick tip, which is what these lives will be based on partially. A quick tip that you can use, or rather a revelation that you can use, is no matter what your artistic ability is, whether you draw highly detailed and exaggerated, like I did, whether you draw photorealistically, whether you draw kind of looks like a person, kind of not. You can draw abstractly, where it kind of looks something like a person in a jigsaw puzzle or a funhouse mirror, or you can draw stick figures. You can even draw butts that has characteristics of a person. I know of a caricature artist. They don't draw faces. They literally draw people's butts and make it look like them. It really is incredible. I've seen stick figures. I used to work with an artist at a very reputable location in New York City called Sardi's Restaurant. It is the caricature mecca. It is. Every artist is dying to get in there, and I had a spot. I used to go there, and I noticed that there was a particular artist who, to be frank, he wasn't getting those likenesses. No way was he getting the likenesses. But because he drew in color, and because he did the hair the right color, because he did the eyes the right color, because he got the shape of the hair in the neighborhood, people were raving over this guy's drawings like they were over mine. And that's very encouraging for you out there if you want to be a professional caricature artist. Rule number one is, on your worst drawing day, you draw better than that person who's sitting down getting the picture than they do on their best day. People are absolutely positively fascinated by artists who can draw a picture, any picture. They think of you guys and me as being magicians with a pencil. It's like a kind of magic, and they are fascinated. Haven't you ever seen people look at a person who's drawing and they're just amazed, even watching? And I knew that this was true, that it really didn't matter how the drawing was made, because I used to watch this show, maybe it's still on, called Impractical Jokers. Now, I'm laughing with the memory. Impractical, one of their jokes, if you don't know the show about it, that didn't make any sense. If you're not familiar with the show, the premise is you can, kind of to make people laugh. It's an experiment in social anxiety, and you have four guys. They keep putting each other in uncomfortable situations to see if they can get through it without flinching, and then they vote on who won that particular episode or exercise. Anyway, they had one episode where this caricature. They had set up a caricature booth in Coney Island, and the people would have to pay them tips, if they wanted to, if they liked the caricature that they drew. Now, none of these guys could draw, but my friend, and I always advertise him everywhere I go, my friend and one of the guys who taught me caricature in the street, how to make money that way. My friend, his name is Kenley Disneyland Dillard. That's what I call him, Kenley Dillard. He's a fantastic comic book artist. You should check him out. But anyway, they had Kenley Dillard draw the caricatures of the people. And Kenley, he drew this one memorable caricature of a guy slam dunking a turd into a toilet bowl and other funny pictures. And on the show Impractical Jokers, they would pretend to draw and then pull out the picture, the ridiculous picture that no didn't look like what the person was doing, what they looked like, what they were wearing. They would pull out that picture and then tell the person, well, this is how I see you. So if you want to give me a tip for it, you can, but the picture's free. And so many people like the picture, like I said, because it was a drawing, because it was a picture, they paid their money. A guy pays money because the person saw him, quotation marks, as being a person who's slam dunking a turd into a toilet bowl. So that showed me people don't really care about how good the artist is. The artist cares, but the people don't care. And that's good for you because you can go out there. I'm not suggesting you don't train, that you don't practice your art form of cartooning and caricature. But it's good news to know that you can go out there with the skill that you have and make money at it. And I mean immediately. How much does it pay to do a party caricatures? This is how much it pays. On the slow end, it's $75 per hour. You usually do it within a 2 to 3 hour minimum. On the high end, it's about $200 and everything. I'd say from $75 to $200, and you charge a 3 hour minimum, and they pay you. And if you do have good art skills, if they like it, they'll pay you tips on top of that. So that's the first thing that I want you guys to know. The fastest way to make money as an artist is as a caricature artist entertainer. And here's how you can book your first party or your first event. Go out there where people frequent, in a not in a shopping mall unless you have a license, but at a park, somewhere where people hang out. You put up your little booth or, whatever. I'll teach you how to do that. And you say, I'm doing this for tips. Reason why you want to say that is because sometimes the cops will come over to you and tell you to get up and leave, especially if they see that you're charging money. But you're not charging money. There's no sign. You're asking for tips. So technically, you're just a guy out there drawing. And if you think that people won't pay you tips, they'll give you the money. They'll hand it over. Trust me. It's one of the easiest ways they get to make money as an artist. And I will tell you more in subsequent lives. But that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you can use this. Please comment, like, and especially share and subscribe if you like the content that you're getting, not only with this first short, but also with all the material that I have on this site. Check out especially the old caricature, I started to say, caricature videos that I have. Like I said, I've been doing this since the early 2000s, and there's some really awesome stuff on this channel. So please check it out. In closing, this is Elgen Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. Now I'm going to do an exit, which is going to be kind of clunky because I'm not used to doing this, but so long. Thank you for checking it out this long. Am I sure I